Welcome to Women Being Loved, a weekly podcast and upcoming book series to help you and other women 35 and beyond attract deep, passionate, lasting love while honoring your authentic self. I'm Todra, your host. Hey girl, I hope you had a wonderful week since we last got together. Before we jump into our conversation today, I just want to give a shout out to 4 listeners who gave a donation to this podcast a few weeks ago. Jennifer O'Neill, Susan D'Angelo, Kimberly Fisher, and Tila Love. I record these weeks in advance, so I didn't get to say thank you on the weeks that you gave, but I very much appreciate it. You're helping me pay for the music license and the occasional help with editing so I can spend more time writing and getting the book out to all you lovely ladies. So, a woman named Nicole, who I interviewed recently for the book, talked about how she viewed herself before she met and married her husband. I think a lot of us can identify with what she's saying here. Have a listen.
He'll tell you, I'm a woman that I don't need you to do it. I can do it on my own. I've been doing it. I'll be fine if you don't. And that can, again, that's something as small as making me tea or like something large. He's like, I don't want you to have to think about X or have to, want why it's going to get done. He's just like, let me do it. And I love that so much.
I love it too, Nicole. I really do. Do you, wonderful listener, consider yourself a woman who, like Nicole, feels very capable? You can take care of yourself emotionally, spiritually, financially. You don't need a significant other to pay your bills, to fix your garbage disposal, to change a flat tire. Pickle jars may still be a challenge. If they are, I got you, girl. Run some warm water under the lid, then jiggle butter knife underneath it in various spots until you hear this pop sound. Yeah, you're welcome. So, technically, you don't need a man or a woman to make your life functional. And honestly, that's a good place to be. Self-sufficiency is a healthy place. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to do everything yourself. You can certainly pay someone to fix that garbage disposal and change that flat tire. So understand, I am not encouraging Lone Ranger attitude. I'm talking about resourcefulness, confidence that you can make life work, basically adulting, right? Adulting. But I would guess if you're listening right now, you would perhaps like to enter a different season of life. I'm not saying your life right now isn't good, and I'm certainly not saying that your life cannot be enjoyable, rich, fulfilling without a romantic relationship. Girl, life can be great as a single person. When I was single in my 20s and living in New York City, I did a lot of really fun things, both with my friends and by myself. I did weekly getaways. I took myself out to dinner. And I know that's kind of one that sometimes people feel awkward about. But let me tell you, it can be fun. It can be nice just to take yourself out on a date, order some amazing food at a beautiful restaurant, and just enjoy the vibe. Nicole also said in the same interview as above that single life owes me nothing. That's a direct quote. She traveled. She lived in several cities. She pursued her dream career. So by the time she got married, and I think she said she was about 37 or 38 when she got married, she was ready. And she didn't feel like she missed out on anything because, she hadn't been sitting around waiting for her prince to kiss her and awaken her life. Her life was already awake, okay? I lived the same way, but by the time I hit 30, I was simply tired of doing enjoyable things solo. And honestly, I was tired of doing hard things solo. At a certain point in life, we also desire someone to share simple everyday tasks with. I love grocery shopping with my husband. I know that sounds really corny, but I do. It's just, I don't know, it's fun. Maybe I shouldn't have shared that. You're all like, oh, she's just weird. But anyway, we long for stimulating conversations and silly inside jokes and laughter with someone who knows us deeply, like deeply, and really gets us. And of course, we desire intimacy and sexual closeness. We were designed for close interaction. If you have been single for a significant amount of time through divorce, death of a spouse, or you just simply haven't met your person yet, and you are 40, you're 45, you're 50, you may start to ask questions like, what do I need to do over here? Like, what's going on? Why is everybody else paired up and I'm not? And the very painful question, what's wrong with me? I remember this stage clearly, and it led me down the wrong path. At the time, I was attending church, and pairing off for marriage is an Olympic sport at churches, and it doesn't always matter if you and that other person are a good match for each other. Anyway, by the time we get to the what's wrong with me question, we may have tried tactics like having our friends introduce us to their friends, going to sports events or whatever's your thing, looking extra cute, right? Signing up at dating sites, putting ourselves in situations where we think we might meet someone interesting. And all of these tactics can be strategic and smart because let's face it, it's rare that someone knocks on your door and he or she is the partner of your dreams. Unless, I guess you could fall in love with your mail delivery person or the DoorDash guy. I don't think that happens all that frequently, but tell me if I'm wrong. But if none of these things have worked for you, you start to really take it personally. And perhaps you start on the down low looking around for clues on how other people are making this work. And maybe in your rock bottom state, you're on the internet like, damn, how do I do this? Right? You're just looking for advice. I have seen such an uptick in online love gurus lately. It seems everyone online is giving relationship advice. And before you say, excuse me, pot kettle, I just want to say in my defense that what I share here is not just my perspective. I have interviewed 50 women and counting deeply, dug all in their business about their lives, about their relationships, and how they've attracted the lasting relationships that they're in right now. So I do share my own experiences here. Obviously, you hear me doing that, but I'm aware that there's so much more to glean from multiple lives and multiple stories. So that's what we're doing over here. Okay, back to the regularly scheduled program. There are, shall we say, very intense lines drawn around different camps of thought when it comes to what's needed for a relationship these days. So, movement. There's the trad wife camp. And by trad wife, that just means traditional wife. So that tells women that we need to take it way back to the days when we didn't earn our own money and have our own careers. This camp is very enthusiastic about housewives. And personally, I don't have a problem with that, as long as a woman's choosing it on her own. So if that speaks to you, I hope that you truly find yourself in that life and that it brings you joy. I sincerely do. Another camp online has gotten very loud lately, and that is the women need to submit camp. So this one may sound and look on the outside like the trad wife camp, but it can overlap, but it doesn't have to. And what I mean is you could be a woman out here working your tail off, providing half of your household's income, just doing all the stuff, but you are still expected to submit. So This one seems to champion women giving up our rights as equals in a marriage. So submission is thrown around a lot if you haven't seen it on the internet these days, which is just shocking to me. But that's all I'm going to say on that topic, because I know there are some women that are full on board with this. Again, I don't understand that, but blessings to you. There's also the not feminine enough camp. I've been seeing this a lot. So in this camp, the ideals of what femininity actually is seems very narrow. But that has not stopped an entire industry of products and services from popping up to assist women in accessing our femininity. Some of these products are very revealing clothing because somehow that means feminine, to femininity coaches, to goddess spirituality type products. I find all of this interesting because the concepts of what is feminine and what is masculine, just like gender, is determined by the society you live in. And I hate to burst this bubble, but it's totally made up. So what I'm noticing in all of these philosophies, if you will, is they're very much focused on how women need to change to be relationship worthy. And there seems to be a strong pushback towards women like Nicole, who earlier said she can take care of her own life. But many of us, especially women in our 40s or 50s, who may have spent a significant amount of our lives single, we've had to make life work for ourselves. And dare I say, many of us enjoy having purpose beyond the traditional womanly things. So, if you're here today listening and you know you can do life on your own because, quite frankly, you have been, but you are desiring a relationship and it hasn't materialized yet, don't be discouraged. And don't take advice that says you have to take on a different persona and agree to things in life that don't feel good and don't speak to who you are. Okay, it is story time. A man one of my exes was close friends with really didn't like me. I'm not going to comment on how I felt about him. I'll say this, we tolerated each other for the sake of my ex. But at every point, this man made it clear that he would put me in my place if I was his woman. I didn't date men like that, so that would never happen anyway. But anyway, the funny part of all of this really was I wasn't doing anything other than expecting to be a respected equal partner in my relationship. And somehow that was an affront to this man and men everywhere. And for all of my ex's issues, that wasn't one of them. Because as I said, I don't date men like that. So he absolutely saw me as an equal and as an asset. So this other man, my ex's friend, married a lovely woman. I had conversations with this woman and she was incredibly frustrated by the way her husband made all the decisions, didn't respect her opinions or her needs in the smallest things like picking out dishes. He had to have the last and only word on everything. Someone else I knew told me that she had known this wife before the marriage and that this woman had been vibrant and fun and she danced through life, but she traded that to be married because she kind of felt like, time was not on her side. I am out here in the real world interviewing women who are from all sorts of socioeconomic, academic, cultural, and religious backgrounds. They are from the US, from Canada, the UK, Mexico, China, Australia, and I'm still counting. I am still interviewing people. So if you have an amazing love relationship and you want to be interviewed, let me know. I will put the details in the show notes. I am constantly inspired and amazed at how each of these women have found their person without giving up who they are. It's taken maybe a little bit longer than they'd hoped, but they toed the line and they said, you know what? I'll wait. But some of them, like me, they didn't wait on the right person. And when their first marriages crashed and burned, they promised themselves they would never, never lose themselves to a relationship again. I have story after story from real life women who have incredible husbands and wives who love who they are. I'm one of them. Yay! I'm one of them. My husband is happy with who I am, with my real personality, with my strength. He's not upset or threatened that I was a full human being before we met. He isn't threatened that I lived in New York City and had big adventures. He wasn't looking for like a little fragile, broken bird, someone to train. He was looking for a full-grown woman who can hold her own and who brings a fresh perspective and ideas to his life. And sometimes a little bit pushback, like, honey, nah. All of that to say, that doesn't mean I don't need to grow. It doesn't mean I won't listen or don't listen to my husband if he has feedback on something that he thinks is a blind spot for me. I appreciate that. We're a team. So why would I not accept his views as valuable? But mine are valuable as well. I am always pursuing personal growth. And what I've learned from my own life and the lives of women I interview is that what we desire changes as we enter different stages of life and even different stages of our relationships. There may have been a time when you felt like, I'm not accepting anything from anyone. I got it. I can do it. Maybe you're still doing that. But you may now be in a season where it would be really nice, like Nicole said, to have someone else do things for you out of love. But that person isn't looking to control you. The best advice I can give you is to stay open. Don't allow bitterness to creep in because that's a repellent. People don't like bitterness. And don't believe everything you hear online about what you have to change about yourself to be relationship worthy. There is someone out there who will love you, absolutely love you, just for you. I mentioned this briefly a few minutes ago, but I just want to touch on it in more detail. If you or someone you know has already found wonderful love, I will be soon looking for new women to join my Wise Collective. So the Wise Collective is just a group of, they're a group of amazing women who share their love stories with me for this podcast. So women like Nicole, and for the upcoming book of love essays. If you or someone you know met the love of your life at 35 or later, please, ladies, this is the cutoff. This is the criteria. I keep getting letters from people. I married my high school sweetheart. I'm very happy for you. I'm happy that you're happy. But the focus here is 35 or later, and you guys are still very much in love. Your story could be shared here and in the upcoming book as encouragement for other women who want what you have. So, if you or someone you know fits this description, I would love to hear from you. Details are in the show notes. As usual, I'm so glad that you spent time with me today. I know we're all busy, and so for you to take time to be here, it means a lot to me. I hope this episode encouraged you. If it did, please consider sponsoring this podcast in any way that you can. $5 is a huge help. Again, details are in the show notes. Next week, I'm sharing a snippet of a really fun interview I did with a woman named Jess. You're not going to want to miss this. She's awesome. She's neurodivergent, and she shares a bunch of gems on dating when you're, in her words, weird. But I think her advice is applicable to all of us, in my opinion, like all of the dating, all of the relationships. And that drops next Thursday. So I hope you will pop back in to listen to that and enjoy your week.